Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Today I am going to be taking you into my garage to show you how some of the vegetables that I'm storing have fared for the last several months, and that'll give you a chance to see how I'm storing my vegetables as well. I have beets, onions, garlic, potatoes, and I had some parsnips, but I just finished those last night. So we won't be able to look at those, but I'll talk about it a little bit because it was interesting to me. So we're going to head into the garage, but first I just wanted to show you, it is the middle of January. I think it's the 13th today, something like that, and it's pouring rain. Very odd here for Saskatchewan, Canada. We have a real weather system moving in here. We're supposed to be having winds getting up over 100 kilometers an hour, and this rain is going to turn to freezing rain and then snow, and hopefully by tomorrow evening it's moved its way out of here. But another thing about this video is I'm trying out a new microphone setup. So I've had some really good constructive criticism on some of my recent videos. It's good to hear your thoughts so that I know how it's coming out on your end of things. I had a pretty good idea what I was using wasn't working out, and I've just been trying to figure out what to get. And I purchased a new system. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And let's go into the garage now and check out how those vegetables are doing. So we're in the garage. I'm just going to show you quickly kind of where I have things stored, and then I'll move things around a little bit so we can have a better look. My garage is a disaster. We use it. We park our cars in here. We work in here. So it's not a cleany, tidy extension of the house. So don't judge, but it works well for storing my vegetables. So I'm going to turn you around and show you kind of where I have things stored, and then I'll pull them together and we'll have a look at how they're storing. First, it's 11.5 degrees in here. I try to keep the thermometer down around 10. Sometimes people sneak it up. Like I said, we do work in here, so sometimes it gets snuck up to around 20. Now that's in Celsius. And sometimes it'll stay like that for a few days to a week before I realize it and get things readjusted again. But right now we're sitting at 11.5. We have an overhead heater in here. Oh, heat just went up. So that's how we heat in here, an overhead natural gas heater. So, right, this here is the people door. That's where we join into the house. And this is the back wall that is against the house right here. And I have a basket of onions that I harvested. I'll look up the harvest date. It was, I think, in August, but I will double check that and put the date on the screen for you. And then beside it, there's that kitty litter bucket has beets in it, and it had parsnips in it as well. And then on the other end of the garage, I have my bags that you may have seen a video of me making these bags to store my potatoes, and they're hung, and that door there is the door to outside. So that's the people door outside. And right above me currently is the heater. So I'm going to grab all these things and kind of move them into the same spot, and we'll open them up and have a look. That potato bag's actually empty, so I just grabbed the full one. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, so I'm just working with the selfie stick right now, as I'm sure you could tell. So hopefully you can get a good enough look here. In this basket of onions, I actually found some bonus garlic that I didn't realize was in there till about 3 days ago. I was digging around in here having a really good look, and all of a sudden I realized there's garlic. So as you can see, the onions are just being stored in this wire basket. They're down on the floor, and they're just staying nice and cool. Usually the garage is pretty humid, but this year we haven't had as much snow, so there's not as much snow tracking in on the vehicles, and we're just not coming and going as much because of COVID restrictions and that. So, but the onions, like this nice big onion, I believe this was a Spanish yellow onion. I'll check the varieties and put them on the screen. So the large one is good. This medium-sized one is pretty nice. Skins are coming off. See, I have some smaller ones in here. Yeah, still nice and firm. Don't really want the skins coming off, but I guess they've decided it's time. So these yellow onions are storing quite well. This one looks kind of gross on the skins there, but under the skins it's looking really good and it's still really nice and firm. It's definitely, I would say, lost some moisture because there's an air gap in there, but it's not, like the actual onion is still nice and firm. The garlic is beautiful. I didn't even know that was in there, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Stored better than the stuff I had in the house. Though I used all the stuff in the house. And these I think are a candy white. Again, I'll double check the plant packets. I think I still have them. So this has some sort of discoloring, but it doesn't really look like moldy or anything, and it's still nice and firm. It's a little bit bigger one. Oops. Better use that one soon. That was running out of skin there, but still nice and firm. Yeah, all of them feel good. Right down even, I thought these smaller ones wouldn't store as well, but even they feel really nice. They look really good. A few small ones, so they were kind of buried at the bottom there. I need to get in here and use them. This little one here looks like it maybe has a little sprout starting, so something to note there. The rest, maybe this one too. Let me see. Yeah, I think that one's starting to sprout as well. None of the rest look to be sprouting at all. Is that one? Maybe a little sprout on that. So these are the little ones though. This one's sprouting too. It's just turning, so I couldn't see it. Oh, you can see those little sprouts there. Oops. So I'll have to make sure that I'm using these smaller ones. They get kind of buried in these loose skins that come off. Use these little ones up first. It's not ideal for the skins to come off, but as the onions age, the skins do get looser and they will start to come off a little bit. Clean some of this out. Try to get the bigger ones on the bottom now. Oops. So I'll note to make sure that I'm grabbing these little ones, even if I need to grab several for when I want to use my onions next. Okay, so that's the onions and that little bonus garlic. Like I said, I didn't know it was in there, but I'm very happy with how these have been storing. So it's definitely a good way to do that for those. This bucket here is my beets, and I had parsnips in there as well, and it's just an old kitty litter bucket. And it just has some sand. It's actually just sand out of my yard. We did some work this fall and lifted some paving stones, and I had to move the sand out of the way, do some trenching. So that's where that sand came from. So I didn't buy any special clean sterilized sand or anything. And I just put the beets actually in a layer down in the bottom And then I stood the parsnips in kind of, tips down to the bottom, tops up, and just stood them all in there. And then I just poured sand in, would give it a shake to distribute the sand down to the bottom as much as I could. And then I poured more sand until it was full to the top. Now the parsnips came pretty much to the top edge of the sand, and I think that showed in the quality of the parsnips. They started to get soft, and I think the sand, I didn't moisten it or anything. I've never done this before. This was an experiment this year. And I don't know if maybe the parsnips would have liked a moisture sand. I did come in a month or so ago, and I poured a little bit of water in here, just tried to kind of work it around with my fingers as much as I could. By then I'd used most of the parsnips. They lasted good for about 2 months. Yeah, probably about 2 months. They lasted like pretty decently, and I could still use a peeler pretty nicely on them and that. But this last couple of months have been a little tougher going with them, and I've thrown a few out. They weren't very big parsnips. They were only, the biggest was probably about that big around at the top. Some of them were really small, so they just did not store well. Storing in here stored them better than they would have in my fridge in past experiences, and that's where I would normally store them. The beets, they were so buried in here under the parsnips, I haven't been able to get at them. They've started to grow. I had cut the tops off, so they've started to grow tops. I'm trying to get one pulled out here. I've taken some of the sand out now too. Oh yeah, they still look nice. They're actually rooting in here. Okay, that's interesting. So I had cut the tops and, the roots off of these. Not severely, just a little bit, at the bottom. I wonder if I can see the cut point. No, I can't see it there. But so I had cut them off, and they're starting to grow fine little roots here. But they're still, it has the slightest give to it. Still nice, it's definitely good to eat. You can see where some of the old tops, I must have cut them to about this point. These are the older ones. They've rotted off, and they've grown new tops. This one is still completely firm, this bigger one. This one's really firm too. And I've one more here. Yeah, and it's completely firm. Oh, there's another one buried even further. This one was really buried. You can see how the weight of the sand, it was trying to push this new growth through the sand. Completely firm. So definitely a good way to store your beets. I pulled these up right at the end of the season, and they've been sitting in here like this ever since. So for some of that time, it wasn't real cool outside, so it wasn't real cool in here, but the last few months it's been cool in here. So I'll get those buried back in the sand in a minute. And then here's my potatoes, and we've gone through most of our potatoes. These are the small to medium-sized potatoes that I stored, and they're still looking pretty good. They're still fairly firm, a little bit of give, but nothing concerning at all. They're starting to get some sprouts. I'm just going to rub those off. That's all I do when they start to sprout. That's the first time I've had to do that out here. And like I said, these are hanging right by the heater. I need to find a better spot. I thought because they're by the outside door there that would be a good spot for them. It's not a perfect seal on that door, but with the heater right there, I think they're just maybe getting more heat when it's on. I could be wrong. This one's just a little bit softer than the rest. It looks like it wasn't the best potato to begin with, though, honestly. The rest all feel nice and firm, and they're just starting to sprout. Some of these barely even have sprouts on them. So this is a bag that I made to store my potatoes, just out of an old flour sack towel. And this one is single layer? No, double layer of the towel. It's white. Probably if you had a darker one, or had something hanging over it just to get it A little bit darker in there would probably help, because I'm sure there's a little bit of light that comes through, but these potatoes look excellent. And again, they've been being stored in there since September, maybe beginning of October, something like that. I'll look. But so I'm happy with how things are storing out here. This was my first year doing the onions and the beets and the parsnips this way. The potatoes have been out here in various forms of burlap sacks and buckets and milk crates and things in these bags the last couple of years. They've worked well. So just, I thought you might find it interesting to see how things are storing and keeping here. And it was good for me to have a little record of that as well. So I hope you liked this video. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.